But in audio obtained by the Roy's report, Evans pressures the couple to submit to Joanie, claiming she has godlike authority.
And submission means she's the voice of God to you. And I said,
I'm sorry, can you clarify? She said she's the voice of God to me?
she's the voice of God.
So God's voice is...
So I have to hear, I can't hear from God, I have to hear from her?
Outside of Daystar. What she says is God in Daystar. This is the voice of God in Daystar.
So what accountability does she have if she's off?
Well, she has a husband. She has a board.
I'm on the board.
Yeah, but you're not, individually, you're not her accountability. Individually, you're her employee.
And this is Jonathan on Doug.
So there is a deception from the beginning with their relationship, that he didn't disclose to his clients that he had been divorced and that he was dating my mother until after they had seen each other for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And so again, a relationship is built on deception. And then here's the other thing, is Jimmy Evans and my mother, he was the one that basically gave the spiritual approval to this marriage. Jimmy Evans never talked to Lisa, the ex-wife. He only got one side of the story.
Right.
So that was very troubling. And then we were barred from speaking to Lisa. You know, they just said, you know, you don't talk to her or whatnot. So,
you know, I'm going to be spending full time now in endtimes.com. I pastored for many years. I transitioned from pastoring to do EXO marriage. My wife and I had a television program, a daily television program for 25 years on every Christian network. And we transitioned that to our son about 7 years ago, but I've still been a part of the EXO ministries. And so this next year in early 2025, I'm transitioning out of EXO to do endtimes.com full time. And I'm very excited about that, to be able, because I've had so many things on my plate for so long. And now endtimes.com, Tipping Point Ministries, is going to be the focus of my ministry going forward. I pray for the rest of my life. I love Bible prophecy.
What's your favorite things about Lisa?
Oh, she's got the purest heart I've ever met. I mean, it's just, she loves and serves with excellence. Everything she does with excellence. You know, she's an amazing individual, creativity-wise. She's an amazing mom, and she runs our company. You know, we just bought a 20,000 square foot building for a counseling center. That's a lot. She runs it like a home. I mean, people just like her because she's just got this kind of like, how can I help you? Heart. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just easy.
That is so much like my Joanie.
Oh, thank you.
After more than 30 years of leading one of the most respected Christian marriage ministries in the world, Jimmy Evans, the founder and public face of EXO Marriage, has officially stepped down. On the surface, his decision seems spiritual. He says he's simply shifting his focus to prophecy and biblical teaching through his other ministry, endtimes.com. But behind the scenes, the picture is far messier. Rumors are swirling. Allegations are emerging. Leaked audio has surfaced, and questions are growing louder by the day. Did Jimmy Evans step down willingly, or was he forced to? And more importantly, is he trying to escape accountability for a web of spiritual manipulation, controversial alliances, and abuse cover-ups involving Daystar Television and Joanie Lamb? Today, we're unpacking the entire story, what really led to Jimmy Evans' sudden resignation, the disturbing audio that shocked his supporters, and whether his exit from EXO Marriage is just the beginning. 2 weeks ago, without warning, Jimmy Evans released a video. In it, he calmly announced that he would be leaving EXO Marriage, the ministry he helped build from the ground up, to focus full-time on his endtimes.com prophecy platform. "I've had so much on my plate for so long," Evans said. "I've pastored, I've led EXO, I've done media. But now I want to focus the rest of my life solely on Bible prophecy." That announcement caught many of his followers completely off guard. After all, Evans has been synonymous with biblical marriage counseling for decades. Through books, conferences, and his long-running television show with his wife, he helped shape Christian views on love, commitment, and family. Why then would he leave? And why now? To understand the full story, we need to go back not just weeks, but months, even years, to Evans' growing involvement with Daystar Television and its now deeply embattled matriarch, Joanie Lamb. As many of you know, Joanie Lamb was married to Marcus Lamb, the late co-founder of Daystar. After his passing, Joanie shocked Christian media circles by marrying Dr. Doe Weiss, a relationship counselor with his own controversial history. It was a marriage that sparked serious pushback, not just from viewers, but from inside the Lamb family itself. Most notably, Jonathan Lamb and his wife Susie raised concerns. Concerns that Doe Weiss was still married when the relationship began. Concerns that Joanie's divorce and remarriage lacked biblical grounds. And here's where Jimmy Evans enters the picture. Instead of investigating or hearing both sides, Evans took Joanie's side aggressively. In a now infamous leaked recording, obtained and released by the Roy's report, Evans is heard pressuring Jonathan and Susie Lamb to support Joanie's controversial marriage. And in the audio, he says something shocking. "She's the voice of God to you." In Daystar, Joanie Lamb is the voice of God. Let that sink in. Jimmy Evans, a man known for promoting biblical order in the family, told Joanie's own children that their mother was essentially God's mouthpiece, and that to disagree with her was to disobey God. The backlash was instant. The video went viral on YouTube, drawing tens of thousands of furious comments. Pastors, counselors, and everyday Christians alike accused Evans of veering into spiritual abuse and idolatry. In the leaked audio, Evans doesn't just offer spiritual encouragement. He actively shuts down Jonathan and Susie's concerns about Doe Weiss's divorce history, calling them unbiblical for even questioning the marriage. Submission, Evans said, means hearing God through Joanie, not through your own mind. Critics labeled this as cult-like behavior, especially considering the deeper context. According to Jonathan Lamb, Weiss had never disclosed his divorce to his clients. In fact, he'd been dating Joanie Lamb while still legally married to his ex-wife Lisa. Even worse, Jimmy Evans never spoke to Lisa. He reportedly barred others from contacting her and chose to believe only Joanie and Doe's version of events. The contradictions didn't stop there. In a 2019 Daystar broadcast, just a few years before the scandal, Doe Weiss himself praised his ex-wife Lisa in glowing terms. "She's got the purest heart I've ever met. She's an amazing mom. She runs our company. She's creative, loving, and kind." So why did Jimmy Evans later claim that Lisa had abandoned Weiss and abused him, supposedly giving him biblical grounds for divorce? Why didn't anyone bother to hear from Lisa directly? And what does that say about Evans' judgment? Fast forward to 2025, and suddenly, Jimmy Evans is stepping down from EXO Marriage. His Daystar show has quietly disappeared. His affiliation with Joanie Lamb? Nowhere to be found. Is it possible that this is just a strategic rebrand? A last-minute retreat to avoid being dragged further into the mess surrounding Daystar? Many believe it is. Evans has known the Lamb family for decades. He's been closely tied to their network and has even been accused of covering up earlier scandals involving Marcus Lamb. But with Daystar's financial condition crumbling and more allegations surfacing, some even involving abuse and cover-ups tied to the Little Lambs, the next generation, perhaps Evans, saw the writing on the wall. Reports suggest that Daystar is on the brink of financial collapse. Once one of the most profitable Christian media networks in the world, Daystar is now facing a growing trust deficit, plummeting donations, and legal scrutiny. Evans, once a close confidant of the Lamb family, may be distancing himself for survival. By stepping away from EXO, pulling his programs from Daystar, and investing everything into endtimes.com, he could be attempting to rebuild his brand before it's too late. But will it work? Or is the damage already done? Evans' actions have led many of his longtime followers to question everything, not just his judgment, but his commitment to biblical truth. Why would a man who once taught about marital fidelity and integrity go on to bless a union built on deception, divorce secrecy, and spiritual coercion? Why did he call Joanie Lamb the voice of God? And why is he now silent on the whole matter? The longer these questions go unanswered, the more credibility Jimmy Evans risks losing. Some close to the situation believe Evans has completely severed ties with Joanie Lamb. Though no official announcement has been made, his sudden departure from EXO and the quiet removal of his content from Daystar's lineup suggest a full break is underway. If that's true, it means Evans has betrayed the very woman he once defended so passionately. But others argue this isn't about betrayal, it's about self-preservation. After all, Joanie Lamb may soon face significant public scrutiny for her marriage to Doe Weiss. And when that day comes, she might point to Jimmy Evans as her spiritual endorsement. He likely knows that, and he likely doesn't want to be held responsible. By pivoting to Bible prophecy, Jimmy Evans may be trying to rewrite his legacy. But the internet never forgets. And those impacted by his actions, from the Lamb family to the thousands who look to him for wisdom, will carry the consequences. What happens next depends on whether accountability is pursued or swept under the rug once again. What this entire situation reveals is something far deeper than just a ministry shift. It's a crisis of leadership. When influential Christian leaders choose loyalty over truth, power over principle, and silence over repentance, it leaves behind a trail of broken trust. We don't take joy in exposing these stories. But we do believe in accountability. We believe that if the church is going to have any voice in the world, it must first hold itself to the highest standards. So what do you think? Was Jimmy Evans right to leave EXO marriage? Was this simply a calling or a calculated exit? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe truth still matters, like, share, and subscribe. We'll continue digging into the stories that matter, stories where faith, truth, and leadership collide. Until next time, stay rooted in truth and keep fighting for what's right. God bless you.